everyone. If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Level Up Nation, and I am your host, Stacey Preer from the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team, joined with my co-host, Dustin Pritchard. Hey, Dustin.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Sun is shining.
Sun is shining.
And we also have on our panel today, Ed Sater from Bluekey Property Management. Hey, Ed, how's things?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So today we are talking about second chances. We're talking about partnerships that might not have worked and public perceptions. How to rebrand yourself, how to reposition yourself after something might have fizzled out. Are you guys ready to dish the dirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is more of like a girly conversation, but you guys are pretty awesome. So I feel like you can level up and hold your own.
It's like a 12-step program. We should be sitting in a circle.
Right? So I think one of the cool things about leveling up, and one of the things that I think all three of us did last year, 2019 was a gap year, I think. Our previous partnerships had all kind of fizzled out.
Yep.
I call it a gap year, a coma year, an alcoholic beverage year. I call it a yes year, because I really didn't know. Like, after I had identified myself so much with my partner and my business, that when things kind of went sideways, I really kind of had an identity crisis.
Who am I?
I know.
Who am I?
What do I want to be? I'm
That's right.
40. What am I doing? I'm too old for this shit.
Oh, that. There was a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah. Really? Come on. It's like, those were all like, there's like common road rage slogans, but I feel like those were my like life rage slogans.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I'm going to, who am I going to put on the hot seat first? Ed.
Yes.
So, Ed, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I think when you took your gap year or your yes year, one of the things that attracted me to your profile on social media was you were doing a lot of positivity and growth, and you were sharing some pretty intimate details, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's balls are on the table. And I had never
pretty
seen
much.
that
I was
before.
saying the same thing. Sorry to interrupt. I was like, whoa, that takes a lot of guts. That was it was impressive. It was impressive to see you open yourself up and let your soft side out. That was really neat.
I think it was a very important part of who I saw myself as, and my transparency moving forward. I'll give you a quick situation. What happened? I went to a leadership conference, and this gentleman came up, and he was a keynote speaker, and he came out, and he was a larger man, and he was bald, and he came out, and the first thing he said was, "Hi, my name is blah, 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 and I am gay." And it just captivated me. It captivated the audience. And that was the first thing he said. And he went on to, and this man held a very prestigious position in the United States. He was CFO for one of the vice presidents. And this gentleman was, he just spoke freely about who he was and what he was. And I go, wow. I was mesmerized. And that level of transparency, that level of vulnerability captivated me. And I knew at that point in time, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be, because there's who people see us as and who we truly are usually two different things. And I wanted to kind of, you know what, here I am, the gloves are off, butt naked in the middle of the street, and this is who I am. Like me, leave me, it doesn't really matter. Because I had to be happy with who I was. And that was the biggest thing. Because I think we talked in the previous episode, was if I don't put the oxygen mask on myself, I can't help out anyone else. And I needed to do that. I needed to, again, level up, get myself, back to my identity, who I was, because I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. And as you just said earlier, Stacey, is that when you're with a partner, you have concessions. You give, and sometimes some people give more of themselves, and they start to lose their identity and who they are. And that was very much me, because if I had to work late, I had to give something else up of myself on the personal level, right? So there was a little give and take, but I felt like I was giving more than I was taking, and it became to the point where I started to lose who I was, and I was just very unhappy, very unhappy. And with this yes year, my year, me year, my, changing who I was year to becoming the person I want to be and who I was comfortable with, I did become very vulnerable on a social platform, but it allowed me to speak my truth. And if you liked it, great. If you didn't, it's okay, because it wasn't for you anyways. It's for me. And that's all it was. So I had a fantastic year. A lot of transitions have happened, and they transitioned into a new business. Coming from a successful business to starting a new business, it's scary as all hell, because who I was and who I am.
God, are you kidding me?
Yeah. But you know what? Though, with the support of people like yourselves and people that I know, they will see the true you, and they will believe in you. And I hope that's what happens with that whole gap year for myself.
Awesome. Hey, Justin, I want to kind of put you on the hot seat here too.
Okay.
You're like, ooh. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of call you out on, and then you can call me out on it if you wanted to.
Just might.
I know.
There is some like, story. Careful what you ask.
Or under a bus. I don't know. Either way.
Yeah, right.
So one of the things that, we had disruptors, disrupting brokerages in our industry. And I think there was a very common perception of who you were, what you stood for, and basically your associations. Now, I know personally, firsthand, just from talking to you a lot in the past year, like since last August, July, I think, you've changed and you've grown so much. You even went to Thailand to kind of find your identity and what you truly wanted. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that too. Like, how was it for you trying to like pull away from that perception?
Oh, well, you know what? First off, I got kicked out of the house. Not really, but kind of. Emily encouraged me to go away for a month and just kind of find yourself. And I'd been going through some pretty difficult times at work, and our friendship and business partnership was falling apart, and that's so incredibly painful, difficult to deal with, and while trying to continue to serve the people that are part of your organizations and keeping the promises that you've made to people and things like that. So it got to the point where it was all coming to a head. And I can share in Ed's story, like, you get so tied up with your partnership, but also your brand and the value proposition that you're delivering, that it's so easy to lose sight of who you are. And little tiny chunks and pieces of who you are sometimes can get, taken away. And over a period of time, before you know, it's like, what am I doing? What is this all about, and why? So I did a fire walk. I call it a fire walk. I took a month off. I went to Thailand by myself, went from the north to the south, and just really, I backpacked, didn't stay at any fancy hotels or anything. I just went rugged, went out there, experienced life, and just kind of broke all patterns. I just had to break every single pattern with business, work, family, everything. I had to go out and just kind of dust it in a bubble and really kind of take a look at myself and the values that I have and what I wanted to deliver to other people, what I wanted my life to look like. And it also helped me really realize that where I wanted my life to be and what I wanted to look like and the delivery of value that I wanted to give to people, it wasn't happening. And it couldn't happen on the path that I was on. So at that point in time, I had to make that really, really difficult decision that something's going to change. And if nothing, and the things around me is not going to change, it's got to be this.
That's very, very similar to my situation. I got into a situation where I wanted to go in a certain direction and my partner didn't. And it was constant fighting. Constant, like, hitting a brick wall. And I felt in every fabric of my being that I needed to do this. And to the point where I was like, I literally remember having this conversation. I was like, oh my God, it's a glass of milk. Look, it's a glass of milk. This milk will get you this, this, and this. And I'm like, you keep wanting to go to iced tea. Iced tea is not going to get you what milk's going to get you. Like, it seemed like the most ridiculous conversation, but we actually like had that fight. And I was just like, there's no protein in iced tea. Oh my God, I can't take this anymore. Like, it was just to a point where it's like, it got so ridiculous. Like, I was just like, oh my God. So then I basically said, look, man, I love you, but I love me more. And I'm sorry, I have to do this for myself. I can't keep doing this anymore. And I literally like completely uprooted everything. It was
You did.
like,
You really did.
it literally everything.
A few times.
I know.
Right?
I know.
But you had to get it right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I just didn't know where my fit was. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. And I kept feeling like a fraud because I was trying to fit myself into other people's situations and they weren't mine. And I'm one of those people who I like to make my own molds. I don't really like to fit into other people's molds. So it's kind of stressful for me, which is why being an entrepreneur kind of helps because I'm not built for 9 to 5. So one of the things, here's gonna be my segue to my next question here. So a lot of people, you had just said that I made a few moves, and I used to post that on Facebook because okay, honesty moment, boys. I did what
Be real.
most do. I know we're getting real with prayer here.
That's right.
I wanted to post most of my successes on Facebook because I had someone telling me I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I wasn't this, I wasn't that. And it was my mission to prove that wrong. Because I, from my core of all cores, yes.
Damn right, boy.
So,
Love that. I love that.
for people who are listening and not watching, Ed, can you hold
Yeah.
that up again? Ed just showed me a sign, do it because they said you couldn't. And that's true. That's like literally, I'm like 5'5". I became a plus size model. I went back into acting and booked my first gig within 2 months. I started doing strategic planning for another company. I did everything. When I say it was a yes year, I really did everything I possibly could because I didn't know what I wanted. But I posted a lot of that on Facebook, and sometimes I feel a little cringy about it now because I'm like, oh. But then I saw Ed putting his stuff on there, and I was like, okay, I'm fine. So I wanted to talk to you guys about being an entrepreneur and posting things on your socials. The funny thing, Dustin, when you said the softer side of Ed, I don't really think there's anything soft on Ed. Ed's
Right?
like,
He's like buffed out.
he's super buff.
He's like a machine.
Who's like watching, Ed is like poking a brick wall. I literally went to hug him, and I'm pretty sure I bounced off of him.
Yeah.
My other show, and I was like, damn it, I'm wearing heels. But so
This man's chiseled.
I know, right?
Right?
Now that Ed's turning like again 10
Holy red. So those of you listening,
yeah, I know you can't see this, but Ed's a tomato right now.
Ed's head is red.
But yeah, so to see a guy who, I'll be honest, I've always thought that like chiselly, muscly dudes with tattoos that seem to have a lot of money are kind of douchebags. But then, I mean, that's a very common perception.
Real face.
I'm just letting it all fall out today. But Ed's not. Ed's actually a very lovely man, and he had real feelings, and I was very taken aback by the things that he was posting. So Ed, do you want to talk to me or talk to us and our audience a little bit about the types of things that you were posting, and did you have any inhibitions when you were posting these things?
Good question. I think, as I touched on earlier, I needed to get real, and I think, like I said before, I think a lot of people, and myself included, previously, I deleted my whole Facebook page before and started all brand new. I deleted everything. My whole life was deleted from previous and then started fresh, because who I was before is not who I am today. And I didn't like the things that I was trying to fit in. I think a lot of people, oh my God, I didn't get enough likes, or I didn't get enough this, and what can I do to get more likes, and how can I be more likable, or I didn't give a, I knew I just wanted to do something for myself. And some people say to me, well, are you not afraid of what people are going to think of you? And my number one answer is no, I don't care. And I mean, there is a part of me, obviously there's a part of us that do care what people think. How is this going to affect me on a business standpoint? How is it going to affect my kids? How is it going to affect my wife? How is it going to affect my family? And a lot of even my family said to me, like, I think you're getting a little deep. I think you're getting a little bit too much. And it was something I felt like I needed to do. And as much as, I think a lot of it was pretty evasive, not evasive. I think a little, I think it just got a little deep. It did. It got deep, but it was about me. It wasn't about my family. It wasn't about anyone else. And if people are so concerned of how it affected me, I was the only one that's being affected. I thought until my partner said, well, I think people are starting to ask me about you. And I was like, wow. But again, it helped me. It helped me to be who, it helped me be real, helped me be vulnerable, and it allowed me to get really in touch with who I am.
Sounds like your firewalk.
Yeah.
It is. It definitely was. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Now, Jess, you're pretty conservative on Facebook when it comes to things. What are your thoughts and perceptions on, I guess, airing out your demons on social media and how it would affect your business?
Do you know what? That's an interesting question. I never actually thought about it. I believe it or not, I'm a natural introvert. I'm actually a homebody, and putting all my stuff out there. Let's put it this way. It was hard enough for me to start a podcast. It was hard enough for me to do Facebook Lives and different things like that, and putting that out there, let alone exposing my soft underbelly to the public. And would I do it now? I think I would. Now that I've gone through the year and everything else, and I've come out the other side. But during that time, it was a very emotional time. If somebody asked me how is business, or how's things going, or whatever, and I was still embroiled in all that, I was close to tears. It was actually, I cried a number of different times simply because it was just overwhelming emotionally, going through that kind of a transition. So going through the forced online therapy of exposing everything out there, I wasn't there. I'm a bit more of a private person, so I think that's why my firewalk was insular. It was looking inside and breaking the patterns and getting rid of all the stuff that is distracting, and just really fine tuning and distilling down what I was looking for. So that was my style of going through that kind of a experience. Achieved the same end, I think, but would I do that online? Maybe, but I hope I don't have to go through another situation like that. That makes me want to.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Honestly, I think 2019 was one of my hardest years too. And
Ditto.
the thing that I want to echo this with Ed. I think being raw and really exposing your truth, I think that helps you surround yourself with the people who you want to work with, the people you want to be involved with. Everybody's been coining hashtag vibe tribe, or people that get you. And I think that when you surround yourself with people who understand where you come from, and let's face it, everybody likes a comeback kid, right? It's been proven in media time and time again. So I guess my take on it, my vote on it is obviously have a little discernment with what you post on social media. But if you're actually trying to communicate something positive, something that you're going through the fire about, something that you think could help someone else level up. Like honestly, Ed, there's a few posts I literally was sitting there reading and it brought me to tears because I was feeling those feelings and
Yeah.
I thought I was alone.
Do you know how many people he
So,
helped just by sharing?
mhm,
That was
mhm.
so cool.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I think one of the things is that if through my experience, strength, and hope that I can help other people, I think that's all it is. You know what? In the process of helping myself, I can help others. It's a win-win.
So guys, I'm gonna throw this to the other people out there listening or watching. If you are watching and if you are with a partner right now, and it's a toxic relationship, whether personally or professionally, but mostly professionally because that's what our podcast is about, hit us up in the comments because we want to hear from you. We want to talk to you because I know another big topic is when to call it quits. Um,
Mhm.
like how do you know when enough is enough?
That's a really good question. When do you know? And it's oftentimes the real time to do it is oftentimes a lot sooner than you originally thought, right? But what's your tipping point? What's your boiling point, right? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Dustin, just out of curiosity, what was yours? What was your like, I can't do this anymore?
Uh, without getting too deep into it or anything, it was just a repeated pattern that kept on happening over and over again. That was taking away as opposed to giving, and it wasn't treating people the way that I thought that people should be treated, and I certainly didn't want to have my name associated with certain things. But it just kept on happening over and over again to the point where it's just like, you know what, this is respect. Wish all the luck in the world. But two men just grew in two different directions. And at a certain point in time, it was, you know what, we're not going to be able to move each other forward. So we need to move forward separately. Right.
Yeah.
So that's, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. Right. We all have that straw. One, straw is different from other, but we all have that straw. And then when it happens, it's just at that point in time, you just have to make a commitment and make a decision, because the definition of insanity is, right, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Yep. Ed, how about you? What was your tipping point? What was your pinpoint of pinpoint?
It was when I knew I couldn't deliver the level of service that I was used to. And that was where I just had to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I needed to take a break and work on me. And then, you know what, regroup and try this over again.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, guys, thank you so much for sharing that. If you guys were just tuning into Level Up Nation, we've been talking about partnerships that may have gone sour or when it was time to call it quits, and growth years and what you put on your socials, public perception, and how to turn that around and make it a win. Dustin, Ed, any final thoughts?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. You're going to be in business. You're going to be dealing with people. Not everybody's going to agree with you. You're going to have clients that you don't agree with. You're going to have business partners that you don't agree with. You might have relationships that break up. But here's my final thought. Always be classy. Always. Doesn't matter what somebody's done to you. It doesn't matter what you feel like somebody deserves. You stay above board at all times, because if you don't, it does come back. People do remember how you treat people if they leave your relationship or your sphere of influence, right? They do watch, they do listen, and they will lose respect for you if you do not stay classy. So shit's going to happen, boys and girls, but just stay classy at all times.
Absolutely. Ed, do you have anything?
I do. That was wonderful, Dustin, because I can actually, you know what, I can relate to that, and it's the integrity part, right?
Yes.
Things do happen. We are human beings. We do make mistakes, but how are you in that mistake? Have you learned from it? Are you changing? Can you be that person that you want to be and who you are? Stay classy, I think, is perfect. You know, integrity is key, even in failure. Keep your integrity, right?
Especially in failure.
Yes.
That's when your true character shows through.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
And be humble.
Yes, definitely.
That's final thought. Very humble.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. If you guys out there were just tuning in, you were listening to Level Up Nation with myself, Stacey Preer, Dustin Pritchard, and Ed Sater. We want to hear from you. So if you like this episode, feel free to leave us a comment, like, subscribe, and listen to more if you want at www.levelupnationlive.com. We'll see you next time.